So some of you already know that last week I found out that my job was being lost due to restructuring. Luckily, I was able to maintain my position. It just has to go under a different cost center. And this is the 5th time this has happened since I got the job, and it's been 5 years of working in this position. And the other day, someone actually commented on one of my TikToks and said, hey, maybe this is actually a sign that you're ready to move on to something else. And I was like, yeah, like I definitely feel like now is the time to make some type of a change, but I really want to see my YouTube work take off. I want to be able to reach more people regardless of where they live, and internet would allow me to do that. But if I were to stay on the education track that I'm going on right now, I would actually miss some opportunities. Like, would I go back to the classroom for a year? Like, if that's what it took, absolutely, right? Yeah, so I'm trying to make sure I get a good shot. All right, here's probably good. Yeah, so yeah, my real hope and my desire is to move outside of traditional education, and I want to work for myself. And I already do some freelance work, but I really want to be able to take it to the next level. In order to do that, I really need to be my own boss. I need to be able to set my own culture, my own morale. I need to be able to set my own hours. Like, when I'm able to do that, I'll be able to help others more, because I already come from a place of compassion, but I can only imagine if I truly had control over my schedule, what that could do not only for my health, but my ability to show up for others. So yeah, I look forward to having that, but in the meantime, I'm gonna actually do something that I said that I wasn't gonna do. And you guys are gonna be one of the first people to find out. Yeah, this is something I said I would never do. Like, I've said it with my chest. I've said it over and over again. I've said it boldly. I've said it to several principals. I've said it to several APs. I've said it to my colleagues. I've said it to my family. And what I said is, I'll never be a principal. I have no interest in being in administration. And in this video, I want to tell you why. Like, why did I have hang-ups about being in administration? And why am I applying for an Ed Leadership Master's program this weekend? And, you know, like, some of you might not be in education, may have zero interest in it, but I think it's really, I mean, maybe you can get something from this even if you're outside of the field of education. Maybe it's just that connection of making the decision, making a leap into something new. Like, we've all done that, or we've all wanted to do that, but we haven't all made the leap. So maybe this video can help you make that decision, or at least put something in your mind, like, you know, like, maybe I'll really think about it. So one of the principals at the school, he has been saying to me month after month, when are you going to get your master's? When are you going to do this leadership program? When are you going to become an AP? And honestly, he's not the only person to have brought this up to me. I've had almost every assistant principal that I've worked with brought up leadership to me. My direct boss brought up being a principal. Yeah, it's just, I've heard it, and I've heard it from my peers. I've heard it from other educators that, like, hey, you should be an administrator. And I've actually heard it from some people who surprised me, because we're not friends, we're colleagues, and they're very much passionate about what they have to say, and they don't hold back. And she said that, you know, we really need someone like you in administration. You have the skills as far as, like, the curriculum knowledge, but you also have the people skills. You care about kids. You want to see things through. And, you know, like, I know I bring that into space. It's not that I don't have confidence and believe in myself, but I didn't want to do it because I like my balance of hours. Now, that might sound crazy to say as an educator that I have balance in my schedule, but I do. I am very intentional with my boundaries most of the time. Sometimes I do cross my own boundaries, but I work the hours that I work, and that may mean I put in a couple hours here and there outside of campus, but I really use my planning strategically. I'm super strategic with my time. Whenever I'm working on a team, I see it through with all the deadlines. Like, I'm really utilizing myself. I'm utilizing the resources that I have, and I've been in an instructional coach, literacy coach position. And so I've been in this literacy coach position for the past 5 years, and I've really started to see a deeper impact on my ability to reach people when I took this position. When I was in the classroom, I had a strong effect on 120 kids. But when I left the classroom, I had a strong effect on every staff member, every student. I had relationships with more people. There's like 1,500 kids who know me versus a couple hundred. I know more of my colleagues now, and it's not just knowing them, but it's witnessing what we can do together. And what if we just did this a little bit differently? What if we worked together on something? And I've really enjoyed stepping into the newness of this position. Right? It usually takes 3 years for people to start to feel comfortable in a role. Honestly, after my first year, I was pretty confident. Obviously, still growing all of the time, but today, I reconsidered applying for the leadership position. I actually considered it, and I said, I'm going to do it. And he said this to me: you do the work, why don't you get paid what you're worth? It's like you're literally already doing the job of the administrator. There are duties that you take on, there are projects, there's initiatives that you start, there's the way that you work with students. Like, everything about what you do is in the administration space. And he's like, why are you allowing yourself to be underpaid? Right? Like, where you are, it's cool, but it caps out. You've capped out. This is it. All you'll get from here are the raises related to inflation and small raises related to your effectiveness, but there's no major move up pay wise, right? And like, and this position, is going to go away. I mean, honestly, guys, I could really lose my job for real this year. Like, this could be it. This could be my last year as a literacy coach come the end of this semester, even though they said they're keeping me. But like, what if they have to do another round of budget cuts and another round? Like, I don't know when it'll stop. And I'm putting my future in other people's hands, and that's scary, and it's unnecessary. And like, of course I'll go back in the classroom. Like, that's a definite. Like, if I lose this position, immediately I will teach reading again. I will teach English. I'll teach creative writing. I'll teach whatever. I'll work with. I have a lot of backgrounds in education, so I can teach several subject areas, and I'll do it, right? But outside of survival, what's the next move? Really, you're already doing the work, so why don't you get paid what you're worth? And obviously, like, I don't tie my value to something monetary, but you do get paid an hourly rate, you get paid a salary rate, and I certainly witness that I do more for the pay scale, right? So, like, I don't associate my worth with how much I'm paid. Let's be honest, right? Like, I really can't put a price on that, but I do put a price on my hourly rate. I know how much I'm willing to work for the county. I know, like, if they were to say we're cutting your pay in half, that I wouldn't stay in this job. Like, there is a value to it, and it would be ridiculous if I ignored that. but that doesn't mean that taking the AP position will mean that I'll get paid what I'm worth, because I think that I have a lot more to grow, and this may be part of that journey. But I really see my work here on socials, on YouTube, on TikTok, like being able to reach people in this creator space. I really enjoy creating, and I enjoy connecting with others. I'm really excited that I've just reached my 100 subscribers. Like, I'm a pretty new YouTuber, and I just started to really have real conversations via TikTok, via my YouTube, and people are being so real and vulnerable, and I appreciate that, and I want to continue to grow in this, and I do see this as like my next thing, right? Like, I want to be able to make this a viable income stream. Like, I want to make this my scalable income. Like, that may be my steady, where I get my health insurance, where I get my base pay. Like, that's what I would consider that as my base pay. Like, this covers all of my bills, it covers some travel, but outside of that, like, what else do I want? What else do I want to leave, like, a mark on this world? Because it's not just about pay, but, like, I can reach someone right now who lives in another country. Like, I talk to people who live in places like the Netherlands, who live in South Africa, who live in Europe. Like, there's all over the world, people who live across the states. And you can connect with them because you have this ability with the internet. So, like, why not take advantage of that? One of the big reasons why I didn't want to become an administrator is because I love the balance that I have in my life. And I know the hours that I work in education. I know how much energy I put that goes above and beyond, like, the general expectation. But when it comes to being an administrator, my only experience with administrators is really in high school, and my aunt is a principal of an elementary school, so she works a lot. The assistant principals and the principal at the school that I work at work crazy hours, 12, 14-hour days, because they're doing the basketball games after school, and the football games, and the track meets, and the college nights, and all of these different events. So, like, you have to have someone available, and every week they're working these long hours. They're, like, working 12 or 14 hours, and the next day they're coming back and working a regular day. Like, that's not how my body works. It does not work well under those circumstances. I'm a major morning person, right? So I like to be up bright and early. Actually, before bright and early, I have to be up before the sun rises. I like to walk my dog and be out in the stars. And then I get ready for work. But being a high school administrator, that would mean that sometimes I wouldn't want to wake up that early because I had been up so late the night before, and I know I have to do it again. So it would take away from the balance that I have in my life and what I like to do. And a lot of what I like to do requires flexibility in my schedule. So, well, the AP said to me, he's like, okay, well then do elementary, do middle school. They don't have all of those events. There are certain things that you don't have to do in those spaces. Like, also there is a pay difference, but there is still significant pay difference between where you are now and where you can be as an AP. Not only that, you can actually climb up outside of this pay, right? As an educator, we get little bumps in pay for effectiveness, for inflation, but we don't get that significant increase. And he brings it back to, if you're doing this job already, I know that you can go back in the classroom and be extremely effective, but I don't think that you'll be happy to stay there long, knowing what you've experienced and the work that you have done and your ability to reach people. I don't think that's what you're going to want to do long term. So it's like, yeah, if anything comes down to it and you need to go back in the classroom within the next year, do it. But this program, you can knock it out in a year and a half tops. You're extremely intelligent. You already have a lot of the background information. Take a couple of these like law style classes and you'll be able to pass the leadership course test that you have to take. you can pass tests, you know how those work. Like, there really isn't a reason as to why you're not doing that. So, yeah, it was different than any other conversation that him and I had about this. And I was like, yeah, I don't have a good answer as to why I'm not doing it. Yeah, there just isn't one. Like, so, and if I do an elementary school, like, I'm literally right around the corner from 2 elementary schools right by my house. I can bike to work. And I was thinking it would be a really fun activity to do with the kids. Obviously, I would have to, like, get this approved. But if I could do bike rides with the kids after school, like, if it would be like a positive behavior award, if I would ride bikes with them home, like, I think that would be fun for kids. Like, we can ride as a group with Miss Prasad. Yeah, like, I think that they would think it's super fun if they could ride bikes with me home. If they can ride bikes home with Miss Jasmine because they did really good in their reading this week, or whatever the reason is, like, you know, like, they've been doing all the right things, or they changed their behavior. So, like, for the kids who live near enough to the campus that we could do a group ride for those kids who did well, and I could tell their parents how great they're doing when I drop them off. I think that that would be something special. It would connect me to the kids differently. Yeah, I've been having this bug to work in elementary. Like, I've been feeling like I want to be there more. I do after school work and weekend work with elementary school kids, and I enjoy their energy. I enjoy the relationships that I've built, the style of work that they're doing there. Like, they're just still so innocent. And I love high school, don't get me wrong. Like, that will always be my first love, but trying something different and being on the other side of education when they just start, being able to be a part of the reason why they love going to school. Like, the kids who don't like going to school in elementary school likely will hate high school. But if we can get them to love learning young and to think, to really be critical thinkers, to read with intention, that will change their entire trajectory. And I want to be a part of that in a bigger way. I want to be able to reach them at the whole campus level like I am able to do right now. But I guess I'll start to get paid what I'm worth. There's a lot to gain from making this change. And I really don't see a lot to lose. Like, what's the risk? The risk is doing a job, maybe not liking the school. You're such a cute dog. It's like, nope, I'm going to stop here and pee. Maybe. The tree. See? Yep. I have 3 dogs at home. Oh, no, it just wants to go home. That's funny. You too. You know, like, as far as downsides, like, you know, you like to think of, like, the pros and the cons of doing something. A negative is, like, I'm going to have to either, maybe I can get a grant, but I might have to take out student loans again, and that sucks. But he's like, okay, well, you take out small loan, you pay it off your first year, that's done. What's next? Well, I had a problem concerning, like, the balance of my schedule. He's like, okay, well, then move to elementary school. You already were thinking about doing that anyway. Okay, next. It's like, aside from that, it's just the anxiety of working in a new school. And I can do that. That's doable. And everything else I can learn, and I like learning. And every year, even though I have the same job title, my position changes because I change and I grow. Like, I'm usually the one driving those changes. And of course, like, people accept the changes that I make. And yeah, I guess I'm ready. And it's been 2 years, at least, since he's been talking to me about this. I have had so many people say you should try something in this space, but it wasn't a lack of believing in myself. I didn't have all the information, or I don't know, maybe it's just because I really see that this is it, right? This is kind of where I cap out. As far as a traditional job, like, outside of work, I am learning on my YouTube channel. I'm learning how to work these different cameras, different kinds of equipment, angles, cinematography, like all of that I'm growing in. And I continue to grow, and I'll do that regardless of where I am. That's because it's like a love language for me. It's growth. So, speaking of growth, I really appreciate that you're joining me as I'm growing, and I hope that you're growing, because if you just try just 1% better each and every day, that's all we ask on this channel, is that you come in and try just a little bit harder. If you show up for yourself 1% better each and every day, that means you can show up for the world just a little bit brighter. You're loved here, you're supported, you're part of a large community. If you want to be a part of this and don't want to miss a thing, please like and subscribe, share with others. Tell us what's one thing that you've been wanting to do that you haven't done yet in the comments. All right, I'll see y'all next time.